Hello, friends, and welcome to Little Bean's Garden, located in Pomona, California, Zone 10A, established in 2015. My name is Sule, and I will be your host for today. Today is June 21st, 2023, and today I wanted to talk to you about some of the variety of plants that I will no longer be growing in my garden, and I will tell you the reasons why. And I'm not telling you not to grow them in yours, but just for me, they're not working out. They haven't worked out. So let's go ahead and talk while I water my garden. Today I'm going to be watering. It's been really cold, but lately, the last, I would say 3 days, we have been getting up with higher temperatures. So let's go ahead and start watering. And the sun, of course, is going to be in my face, but so one of the crops that I will no longer be growing in my garden is corn. Normally, so I do, I think I have mentioned it here before. I have done some gardening, beginner gardening consultations, and I tell the people that I service or that I, help, or that they hire me for this, I tell them, if there's a crop that's giving you an issue, the first year it gives you an issue, it might be normal, It's not out of the norm for a variety that you've never grown before to give you, maybe an issue the first year you grow it. The second year the variety gives you an issue, it's because we didn't do research on that first year, on what type of soil, what type of fertilizer, or what type of, sun exposure it needs. So I always tell them the first year that you're going to grow something, the first time you're going to grow something, make sure you do at least a little bit of research of what it needs to grow happy, healthy, and produce the fruit or flower that you are trying to get out of that plant. Sorry, I'm moving you around, but I gotta water this garden. If I don't water it now, then I won't water it later. And well, that in the heat is a big fat no, right? So anyway, so I tell them, make sure that the first time you're gonna grow a certain type of plant, veggie, or fruit tree, that you do a little bit of research. Let me stop this watering because it's just getting on my nerves, and I will do it after we are done with our little talk. Let's go. Maybe we'll go to the swing. And look, everything's looking really nice. Really nice. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna try not to make you dizzy. But okay. Woo. That little watering activity, got me a little worked out. Okay, where was I? Okay, so as you may or may not know, I do beginner gardening consultation. And what that means is that I'm looking over there because I have left my drink over there. So come on, go with me to get my drink. And I'm sorry, I'm not used to doing a video like this, but I've seen other people do it and I like it. I like it when they do it. So I thought, you see, here's my drink. Starbucks. In case you didn't know, I am super addicted to Starbucks. I think Starbucks should be sponsoring me because I am addicted to Starbucks. Every day I have to have a drink. Anyways, let's sit back down. Okay. I was telling you that I do beginner gardening, or I think the best word to put is beginner gardener consultations. And I go first I ask a series of questions. Are you renting? Are you owning? Are you wanting to grow trees, fruit trees, shade trees? And what I always tell them is, if somebody reaches out to me and they are from Michigan, right? I'm in California, or let's just say California, San Diego, right? If they're in San Diego, in California, and I'm in Pomona, California, I tell them I will not be able to help you. And the reason for that is, although we're in the same state, our area of gardening is different. Like the environment, the climate, the sun exposure, the wind might be different in San Diego than it is for me here in this area and my immediate surrounding cities. So I tell them, if you're in my area, in the surrounding cities, I can help you, because we will have most likely the very, very, very similar climate. Every garden has its own little climate, but overall we would have a similar, very, very almost identical climate, right? Anyways, I'm not gonna get too much into that, but we were talking about the crops that I will no longer be growing in my garden, and one of them is corn, right? So I always tell my clients, I say, if you are wanting to grow corn, right, and you're gonna grow it for the first time, make sure you do a little bit of research. Now, because they will be growing in my area, in my gardening zone, what I will bring to the table is what I have planted, what I know works for me. And if they are wanting to grow like tomato seeds, and I have them of a variety that does great in Pomona, California, it should do great in the surrounding cities like Chino Hills, Claremont, Montclair. So I tell them, if you're gonna grow it the first time, make sure you do a little bit of research, right? And if it's a variety that I have grown, then I will bring and I will help you with that, because I will bring that research information to you from what I have experienced, what I have researched on my own, what I have experimented in my garden with that particular variety. The second year, you should have already the research that you did the first year. And if it did bad for you the first year, you should have an idea of what it could be, right? For example, if the leaves are like too pale yellow, maybe it's too much fertilizer. Maybe it rained too many days, so it's not enough fertilizer, because when it rains, then it washes out the fertilizer. If there is bites on it, then you're probably aware it's a certain bug that's attacking it. And anyway, so that's for another video. I don't do them often because I don't have a lot of clients. I mean, it's not like I'm dealing with like 10 clients a day. No. We're talking about maybe 3-4 clients a year, okay? That's the reality. But anyways, let's get back to it. Okay, so I tell my clients, I say, what I like to give a variety, I give them 5 years. I try for 5 years if it's something that I am intent in growing, that I absolutely like and that I'm fond of, right? 5 years. And in those 5 years, with the research and knowledge and you being observant and watching the plant, knowing like, oh, it could be pest issues, it could be fertilizing issues, it could be the area it's at in my garden, it could be the sun exposure. Maybe in that area where I have it, it's too much sun. So the second year, you want to use the information you gathered from the first year, right? The knowledge and research online or in books or whatever you want to do for that variety. And then also you observing the plant, how it is doing in your garden, how is it reacting to fertilizer, water, sun, the climate and the area you have the plant located in. So in the second year, you should use that information to make a better living environment for that plant. So what does that mean? So if you notice that it was a fertilizing issue, then change the fertilizer, or change the amount of times you fertilize, or change the amount itself of fertilizer. If you feel it's sun exposure, maybe it got too much sun, then put it in another area of your garden that will get, you know, shade, a little bit more shade and less sun, vice versa, right? Okay. So on the 5th year, you should already have had so much information, knowledge wise, observing wise, and you just being now not a brand new gardener, but maybe a little more advanced gardener, right? Not a pro, you know, by any means. 5 years is not a pro, but you know, if you want to call yourself a pro, go for it. But at the 5th year mark, if it does bad for you, using all the information that you have gathered from the previous years, from the knowledge online, books, you know, then you really have to decide, is this something, because I have tried everything in my power to do, and it is just not working out. You have to decide whether you're going to go for a 6th year, year 6. So that brings me back. I know it was a long-winded intro to this video, but I don't know. I'm in a talking mood today, I guess. But okay, so going back to the crops I will not grow any longer in my garden. One of them is being corn. Corn I have grown in my garden, and the last 2 years I have gotten it to where it's doable. But the problem I have with corn now is it takes up too much space in my garden. I don't have a lot of space. If you see behind me, everything looks crunched up. Everything looks really, really tight together. And that is because you're not seeing things. It's really, really all bunched together because I don't have a big growing space on the property that I currently own. Now, this is not our forever home. I hope it's not. You know, I'm really hoping we could move in the future, hopefully in the near future. But for now, this is what I have. This is what I have to work with. So corn takes up too much space. It doesn't produce too much per stalk of corn. So I get 1 ear of corn. I've heard some get 2 ears of corn, but it's not like I'm going to be planting 10 plants and getting about 70, 80 ears of corn. Now you might say, well, that's ridiculous. Nobody gets, you know, whatever. And I get it. But what I'm trying to say is that I would rather plant another crop that will give me, you know, a bigger abundance in production. So corn takes too much space, takes too long to develop. Plus the heat here in my area, in my garden, is just way too much for corn. I have to baby it a lot, and I don't have time for that. I honestly do not have time for it. Another one I'm not going to grow any longer is going to be broccoli. Now, broccoli, no matter what I have tried to keep it at a comfortable temperature, I have shaded, I have added mulch, I have done so many things. The broccoli will grow for about 30 days, and then I start seeing the flowers form. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter what I add to it, after 30 days, it starts forming the flowers. I don't have time to spend in planting the seed, you know, waiting for it to sprout, waiting for it to get a little bit decent size, planting it in my raised beds or in my pots, and then for it to go to seed right away. I don't have time to deal with that. I really don't. I don't want to deal with that. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good as a gardener. It doesn't make me feel good, you know, with what I'm doing in my garden, with broccoli bolting within about 30 days. I have gotten it to go further. I've done a video on it, and you know, I feel very, very proud of the progress I've had with broccoli, but it's just not worth it for me to grow in my garden. And again, I'm not saying all these crops you shouldn't grow in your garden, because again, every garden has their own little climate. So if we're in the same area, broccoli may do great for you, you know, because every garden has its own little climate areas. Like, I'll give you an example. So right here, this one gets shade in the morning, and after 12 it's in full sun, right? And then I'll try to swing you so you don't get dizzy. And then this area, hopefully you can see because I can't see because of the sun. This area, it will get sun for up until probably the middle of the day, and then after that, this side of the plants have no sun, right? So they are helping to also shade out the ones on the other side that I just showed you. So even if we have gardens in the same area, if you're gardening in Pomona, California, broccoli may do great for you. And you know, if it does great for you in my garden, it doesn't want to do great. It doesn't want to cooperate. I just don't know what to do with it, you know. Another thing I will not grow any longer, and I will be honest with you, spinach, I did not give 6 years or 5 years. Spinach, I gave 3 years because same thing with broccoli, but with spinach, it's so much faster, the bolting. As soon as I would plant it, it would sprout and it would try to grow for me, but it just would bolt. It would bolt. It does not like my climate. It's just way too hot here. No matter if I shaded, no matter if I, you know, added mulch, no matter what I did to it, I babied it, and it goes to bolt. So, you know, it goes to flower. So I don't want to spend my energy planting the seed, waiting for it to sprout, and then it immediately bolts. I don't want to do that. Another crop that I can think of the top of my head, let me see, kale. Now, okay, kale was really difficult for me to add on this list because I enjoy growing kale. I love growing kale. Kale does okay for me, but kale we don't eat like we would the homegrown tomatoes, the onions, the lettuce, the fruits that we grow in our trees. Like kale, I would have like 4 plants, and then I did, you know, minimize it to 2 plants. And even then I found that the kale leaves were going bad because, you know, they were drying up because we weren't harvesting them, because we just don't eat kale that much. We're not a kale eating family. So I don't want to spend the energy or the space, most of all the space. I don't want to use the space on plants that are going to be more decorative in my garden, you know, more ornamental. I want plants that I will plant and then we will harvest and we will enjoy and we will eat, so that we are enjoying literally the fruits of our labor. I don't want plants for, you know, decoration. I don't. I want them to go in the ground, grow, produce, and we enjoy that harvest with our bellies, you know. And well, I think that's basically it of all the crops that I will no longer be growing in my garden. I'm pretty sure I'm missing more, but for now that's all I can get out of my head. And you know, if you stayed this long, thank you so much for doing so. I appreciate it. I know a lot of people may not like these type of videos. I want to try to do more of these videos because I think they are a little bit more comfy, more loose, and I can put more up, and I can put more of what I'm doing or what I'm thinking or how I'm thinking or how I'm planning, you know. I think that'll be good for any beginner gardener, even experienced gardeners. Like I have, I think I'm going on 8 years of gardening, and I watch people that, you know, have less time than me gardening, and sometimes they bring up good points and they bring up good information and they have different ways of doing things, and I'm like, maybe that doesn't work in my garden, but maybe I can tweak your idea to make it work in my garden. So yeah, you know, if you like these type of videos, you know, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, that's fine. You know, not everybody has to like them. We all have different tastes, and I respect that. I really do. But again, if you stayed this long, hearing about the crops that I will not be growing in my garden, let me know in the comments down below what type of crops you will not grow in your garden and maybe why. Because if somebody else watching this video goes through the comments and they see that, maybe they won't feel so alone knowing that you have tried and tried and it just hasn't worked out. And that is the main reason why I did this video. Sorry about the noise. Oh my god, it's super loud. Sorry about that. But the reason I made this video is because I want new gardeners and intermediate gardeners and advanced gardeners know that it's okay if a crop does not work out in your garden. Just because you love it, doesn't mean that it's gonna do great in your garden. Just because it grows well in your area doesn't mean it's gonna do great in your garden, and it's okay. We have to be okay with it not being great, and it brings up a different perspective when I think about it. Okay, so kale, right? I'm not gonna grow kale in my garden, but I can support the local farmers market that does sell kale, or another gardener in the area that has abundant kale and they want to share. I can help them with taking some off their hands. So just because it doesn't grow well in your garden doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just that it's just not working out. If you did everything in your power, then at least you can have that you tried everything and it just didn't work. It doesn't mean you can't have it. You can possibly get it at a farmer's market, other gardeners in your area, or at the grocery store. Not ideal, but you might be able to get it at the grocery store if that's the only place. And well, guys, that's it from Little Beans Garden. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing this video with your friends. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.